When our children were very young, they could use an iPhone. Not because they were especially smart, although as loving parents we obviously believe that they are geniuses, nor because the phone was well built from quality components. It is because the operating system software on the phone was so well designed. It created an interface and an environment that was so easy to navigate that our kids intuitively knew how to open apps and play games without ever being shown how. It was similar when the first personal computer came out. What enabled them to take off as mass products was the introduction of the Mac and Windows operating systems, which made them easy for even those new to computing or not so at ease with computer like I am to use them. The hardware, the processors, and the drives were important. But it was the operating system that really made these products work well. And it is the same with leadership. As a leader, having the necessary core components, the skills, characteristics, and capabilities is essential. Things like decisiveness, like strategic thinking, like influencing skills are critical, required ingredients. But they're also just the foundations, because as leaders rise to more senior levels in their organizations, their jobs become less about doing things themselves that directly drive results, and more about directing and supporting other people to do so. They do this by affecting things like what their team's focuses on, how motivated people are, what the levels of cooperation is, how decisions get made, and how empowered people are to speak up and say what it is that they really think, to challenge their thinking and to contribute to new ideas.
In other words, leaders create an operating environment or system for their people. And just as with the operating system on a phone or computer, it is this leadership operating system that is the difference between failure and success. Leaders can have all the core components and capabilities in the world, but if they don't create the right operating system for their team or business, they will not succeed. Now, none of this should sound controversial or surprising. Yet amazingly, for the past 50 years, the leadership industry has more or less ignored these operating systems and has instead just focused on leaders' core components. And in focusing solely on these inner qualities, only half of the leadership story has been told, and leaders have been given only half the information they need to succeed. Over the past 5 years, we have conducted research involving over 2,500 senior leaders across the world, looking at the operating systems that leaders create. What we have discovered is that high-performing leaders create operating systems that have higher levels of 3 key factors. These are trust, clarity, and momentum. And in our new book, Leadership OS, we have set out to explain why these 3 things are so important and just what leaders can do to build them.